Hello. Good morning. Welcome back to Space Engineers on the Xbox One, and this is part one of a two-part tutorial on the automated cargo drone. In my case, that takes ice from the ice mine all the way over there in the distance to my large cargo container and drops it off. So we're going to look at building the drone. And one of the things that you want to do, especially if you're building in survival, we're not going to be building in survival, I'm going to be building in creative so I can do it quickly, is you want to start building with rotors as your base. First of all, place a large rotor, grind off the rotor part, then go to your base control panel. A battery will do, or a cargo container, and you want to look in your particular base for a rotor that doesn't have a rotor head, and you want to add a small head. Now you've got a small head. You can build off that. You can build a gantry. We're going to use this gantry to help get enough height for the drone. I haven't decided exactly how I want this drone to look. I'm thinking of trying it with batteries, and the last drone I built to actually run my cargo ice back and forth was done with reactors, because of course you don't need to worry. I mean, if you do have enough uranium, then obviously small reactors will be your best bet, but you're going to have to make the drone pull reactor fuel in if you haven't got it set up correctly. But what we want to do is, with this one, we want to look at battery power. I'm thinking I might have 4 large atmospheric thrusters to begin with. So I'm going to build an atmospheric thruster here. And what we need is a way, should be good enough. I might put a second block in. That might give me a bit more room to play around with than we'll want. So this is a completely freeform build. I have no idea exactly how it's going to be, apart from the base design. And what you want to make a drone is you're going to need several components. You'll need a gyroscope, you'll need an antenna, a remote control block for a start. Don't worry though, we'll be putting all those on. So we want to have some good lift on this thing. It's not going to be going into combat or doing anything strenuous, so we don't really need to make it too armoured. What we are going to need though are batteries, a couple at least, and when you do come to set your actions on your remote control, you're going to need to take into account how long you want your cargo drone to sit on the connector for as it loads up, because it will be charging as it does so. So here, don't worry if it goes dark, we'll use the admin menu to deal with that. Here we have a cargo container, and what we need to do is rotate it. You'll see there's 2 large ports. We need a large port facing downwards, otherwise this isn't going to work properly. So there we go. There is a connector attached to a cargo container And that's your basic design. Obviously, now we need to think about its power. Well, we could just be simple. These batteries do stack nicely. And if you're not looking for aesthetics and you're only looking for something that will go from A to B, following the waypoints, well, pop in, say, a stack of 3 batteries. It's going to be a tall drone. Tall and majestic. This will also give us room up top to play around with adding thrusters and the like, because what we're going to need to do now is, one of the things you need with drones like this is your remote control block. Now, if you followed any of my previous tutorials, you will know which way to place the block. But if you look at the picture of the block, it will inform you the correct orientation. What you want is that symbol at the top with the lines, and you want the light itself of the block here to face to the front. So you pick a direction you want your drone to consider the front. So we'll say here. So that is now going to fly if taken control of, once I get an antenna on it and so on, and the right amount of thrusters. That's going to fly this way. So you're going to want a way for your drone to move. So we put in a gyroscope, and we want to control the drone, and why not? We'll pop an antenna in. Doesn't matter where you put it, really. Stick it on top like this if you want it. Very basic design. It's tall. It'll do the job. And that's what we want. But it's still not done. There's a few things. Thrusters for a start. We need to inform this drone the directions it can go. Now, it can go up because we've got 4 large Atmo thrusters on it, but it can't go anywhere else. It can't go forwards, backwards, or down. And since we're on the Earth planet, we need downward thrust. We can't bother with gravity because your remote control block will not know how to operate without thrusters in every direction. If I need to stress one thing when building these things, thrusters every direction. So we need to tell this thing. We don't need it to go awfully fast. We need to tell it though where to fly. So this is our front. So we're going to have 2 thrusters on the front, like this. So it can go forwards. And underneath those, we're going to put 2. So it can go backwards. Now, it can go up. But at the moment, it can't go down. Or to the side. in either direction. So let's have a think where I want to put these. Now, you do need to worry about blocking the particular fan on these things. That's not going to be a problem. As long as the thruster nozzles aren't blocked themselves, you'll be fine. It should be enough to give it just enough thrust for the autopilot to be able to tell it where to go. The idea is we're not going to be piloting this too much ourselves. We are going to be piloting it originally in the second part of the video where we set up all the waypoints, although I already have one of those sets of waypoints set up, as you can see there, look, and a few. But what you need to do is you need to tell drones to create the waypoint from the actual remote control block. Otherwise it doesn't work properly when it's docking. So we've got enough thrust to make us go down, forwards and backwards, but we still can't go from side to side. And again, we don't really want to go too fast either direction, so we could just get away potentially with that. That should be enough to make this drone fly. This is Space Engineers though, and yeah. If you want more finite control over the drone as well, you can slap a camera on it so you know where it's flying. One of the things I want to do though is it's not quite done yet. There's still another element or two missing. To use the system I've devised, we're going to need timer blocks. And the way this has been done, we can actually get away with popping these things. Oops. It's always the way. One slight move of the stick. There we go. We can get away with popping these things around the outside. You'll need 4. You'll need 2 to control the docking and undocking at one waypoint, and 2 to control the docking and undocking at the other. And that's the simplest way of doing it. Well, that drone, give me a second, holding down admin tools, time of day offset. Again, if you've seen any of my other tutorials, I have tutorials on how to access the admin menu, but it's RB and Y. We're going to pop a little save here so that I can reload if things go wrong. And that's the drone. It's got cargo space. It will show connected inventories as well. I think there may be a bug with Space Engineers at the moment and that, I'm not sure. But our inventory here, the connector and the cargo container, medium. Now what you want to do as well is, while you've got your access to your connector, you want to go into it again, press X, go to the control panel of it, and name it something like cargo drone connector. That will help you immensely, because that cargo drone connector can then be found in your lists a lot easier than trying to search through and look for a dozen connectors. We have 4 timer blocks as well. You can name those. I always suggest naming it something like Ice Mine Dock, Ice Mine Undock, then Cargo Dock, Cargo Undock. So your 2 points. And the other thing you want to do with a grid like this, specifically, is when you cut it free from its build platform, which we're going to do now. And hope it doesn't crash into the ground. There we go. Now we've got it nice and free. I go back into it again with X. Right trigger across till you hit info. Flick the left stick right once. Press A. And we're going to call this Cargo Drone 2. Then flick across with the left stick again to the right, press OK. You've now got a grid called Cargo Drone 2. The reason we want this is because we can control this. We're going to follow it around and see if it works. It may or may not. This is a raw build. I'm going to hold down both bumpers and press Y. I'm now locked with my dampeners into auto on this drone. If I press the inventory button, flick up on the left stick, and then across once on the left stick, I can go into remote access. Now, by pressing the D-pad, I can see I've got Cargo Drone 2. Now I can either open its terminal, which will let me mess around with the remote control block and other things on board, or I can take control. One thing I always suggest, if you're going to do a lot of work with remote control blocks and things like that, if you open your terminal, you will see that you've got various components and blocks, grid blocks. So, you'll see you've got all of those, and it's a bit of a mess. If you've got a lot, it'll take a lot of time to flick through that. So what my suggestion is, go back into your drone, press X, and then get to control panel, and now use your D-pad, and you can do this by band selecting, by holding down the left bumper, tapping down on the D-pad until you've got all your atmospheric thrusters. Don't touch anything else, and press Y. You'll toggle them off in the terminal. Go back to the list. Do the same with the batteries. You can do them one by one as well by highlighting each one, pressing Y. But that will take it back to the menu. So what you want to do is you want to keep on going down. We don't want to see the gyroscope, all those atmospheric thrusters in there. All we really want is our remote control block, our timer block, so we can rename them, and you can keep the antenna there if you want, or you can hide it like that. You probably don't even need the cargo drone connector if you really want the list to be short. So there you go. We're still on auto dampeners. Back to our remote access. Now this time we want to take control. We can go up. It's going to take us a bit more time to stop it. We can go down. We can go forwards. We can go backwards. We can move slowly to the right. And slowly to the left. We can tilt it. We can rotate it slightly. You don't want to rotate it fully because this thing will crash to the ground. But that is your working cargo drone. And in the second part of the tutorial, which I will try and get up tomorrow, we will be looking at my other cargo drone, which I've already built. You'll see it's docked over here. We'll be taking a look at that one. Which is a much smaller, compact one because we're using nuclear reactors. The autopilot's off on it, and we will be programming the waypoints with actions. I'll show you how to set waypoints using the drone, which is why we always take control of these things. So when we create a waypoint using the GPS, it will make the waypoint exactly at the position of the remote control. That way the remote control knows exactly where it's going. That's tomorrow, hopefully. I hope this has been of some use to you, and you now know how to build a rather tall battery-powered cargo drone, and you know the components needed to make one. I'll see you in the next one. As always, take care, have fun, happy engineering, enjoy the game, bye for now.